How's it going, everyone? This is Eflex and welcome back to another A Producer's Approach video. In this video we're going to be looking at Teminite's song Break Free. So if you guys haven't watched my videos in the past, I basically break down my videos into 3 separate sections. I have an intro backstory section, then a breakdown analysis section, then lastly after that I have an outro section. So this is Teminite's last live performance on the Unstoppable EP. It's not his last song, but it's the last live performance video. He only did 3 out of the 4 songs with live performance videos. And after watching Haywire's video of Smooth Criminal, you'll kind of see the similarities in this video as you did in the last video. So this song, I think, is more the underrated song in terms of the live performance videos. This one only almost has about 500,000 views, whereas, Unstoppable had about 1 million something, and Believe had pretty close to like 600, 700,000, I think, or if not, it's close to 1 million views. So this is kind of the more underrated song in terms of the live performance videos, but still 500,000 views is quite a bit in my opinion. But this is like a really fun song. It's more of Teminite's electro kind of complextro kind of style, or electro house, or whatever you want to call it. And this is more of his upbeat kind of music, kind of more upbeat, more kind of happy, uplifting, kind of what electro kind of is, more kind of 8-bit sounds thrown in here and there. So this is another really good live performance video, and it's just going to be interesting, now after seeing Smooth Criminal, how Haywire, the original OG with the live performance videos, influencing artists like Teminite and Oblivion. So this is Teminite's song Break Free, and let's get into the review and breakdown. Alright, so just to start off, right off the bat, I like the lead sound that he's playing. That's like a really kind of catchy lead for this song. It just kind of starts off like that, and then the pads with the chords playing on the bottom are just kind of like a nice introduction to kind of intro kind of what you're going to be hearing in the song. And the lead itself, as it's playing, like, it sounds happy already, kind of more uplifting already, but it's just kind of like a cool kind of tone to the song, just kind of start off slow. So that's really cool. And that's all I noticed so far. So let's keep going. Alright, so in that section you kind of hear the pluck kind of come in on the bottom playing the chord progression, and then eventually you hear this kind of arp on top with another high-pitched sound going dun 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 dun, kind of playing like that, and then he's playing his lead sound, and then there's kind of a VFX that transitions, and then like Haywire, you kind of hear the transition from that intro lead sound into like the next lead sound, which is like a more prominent lead sound than like the intro kind of pluckish synthetic lead sound. So let's keep going. Alright, so that is the kind of intro and build-up section together, the lead switches. You kind of hear some of the pads kind of shining through, as well as that lead sound. And then you kind of hear that snare build up, and then you kind of have transitionary sounds kind of in between. The snare kind of builds up, there's a VFX sound, and then you kind of hear this, I don't know what sound that is in the background. It almost sounds like kids kind of playing, or some type of sound that sounds like a kid almost like talking or something. I don't know how exactly to describe it, but there's kind of like a higher pitch kind of sample kind of in the background, or maybe it's kind of like ambient noise or like someone talking like in like a higher pitch, almost like a little kid or something, or kind of shouting, or I'm not even sure what it is exactly, but I hear that in the background. That's one of the more notable sounds I heard. But the lead is playing, and then like Haywire's Smooth Criminal video, you kind of see Teminite right here using the pitch bend, and also this Nord Stage 2 keyboard is the keyboard I was talking about, because in later videos that Haywire makes, he uses this keyboard, and Teminite uses it, and I think Oblivion uses it as well in her video. So it's just kind of the influence there. But now you kind of hear the kind of build up in this section with the white noise riser, snare, kind of the sound effect in the background, and then the lead kind of slowly going up, and it's about to transition. So let's keep going into the drop. All right, so that's the first part of the drop. Really cool. You kind of get that electro house, complextro, electro type vibe. It's more upbeat. It's a 4/4 rhythm. The kind of wubs are kind of playing on the bottom. There's a chord progression, but then the wubs are kind of following that chord progression. And then the middle of that section, I kind of like that arp that goes like that's a really cool transitionary kind of arp little synth sound in the middle of that first drop to kind of end the phrase and kind of transition there to keep going and keep some flow within the song. And the other kind of sound effects also thrown in the background is pretty cool that he has there, but the kind of the wubs and that style is very similar to kind of electro and complextro, kind of that style. And it just kind of feels a little more upbeat with the song than kind of his last two songs. It sounds a little like happier, more upbeat. And here you kind of have him leading into his next lead section. So he like is playing the notes to kind of lead into that section to where he's going to play his lead solo. So this is going to be pretty cool. But otherwise he was playing on the keyboard. He was just kind of playing the lead section, following along with the chord progression here and there. So this is going to be really cool to watch. So let's keep going. All right, so that section was really cool. I noticed there wasn't really any wubs happening in this section, so you kind of hear that kind of harder bass line along with the chord progression, but that harder kind of bass line is playing along with the chord progression, but that's like a little bit more prominent, I guess you would hear in that part, because the wubs aren't happening. So there's like a little bit of a harder sound mixed with like a softer kind of pads playing the chord progression, as they're both playing the chord progression, but it just gives it this kind of grittier layer on top. He's playing his lead solo, which is really cool. The rhythm doesn't change from the kind of 4/4 rhythm, and there's a few VFX kind of thrown in here and there, but this part here I kind of want to emphasize on is where he's kind of playing the da-da-da-da. Like that kind of is a similar transition to what Haywire had in Smooth Criminal, kind of using the keys and kind of using that as a transition. Although in this song there's more of a traditional kind of EDM tradition where there's like a VFX and then like a little bit of like a snare build up into transitioning into this next part, which gets a little bit heavier with some wubs, but I just like this part because it kind of transitions into a kind of more melodic section with his own kind of lead solo, and then he kind of transitions using his kind of notes and using more of the notes notation to kind of transition into the next section, as opposed to using like a really kind of big riser or just a sustaining note or just kind of cutting it off right there. This is more kind of playing into that kind of smooth criminal field where he kind of uses the keys to transition. So let's keep going. All right, that section is really cool. The lead he's playing is kind of paired with what's the chord progression is playing along with. But it's really cool because he's playing a lead. There's also a lead playing after that as a call and response. And then there's kind of different wub sounds and different kind of sound design sounds Teminite made that kind of all in this section have a call and response to each other. And it seems like the rhythm changed a little bit, kind of like to a halftime kind of rhythm to like a 1-3, because it didn't seem like as fast as the last two sections or as consistent with the percussion. It seems like it just switched to more of like a dubstep kind of halftime rhythm, which is really cool. So like the different wubs and stuff and the different alternate lead and his lead kind of all are in like this one big conversation, and it's a bunch of call and response between his lead he's playing with the keys, the wub sound, and the lead in the track that's playing, and then another wub sound, then his lead, which is really cool. And I just want to emphasize his unique lead sound is what you hear in a lot of the other songs in the Unstoppable EP. And then I like that kind of piano sweep at the end. That's a really nice transition that you see some of these artists like him and Haywire and Oblivion do as well. It's just a nice kind of keys transition on the keyboard. So now is kind of the second kind of break section. So let's keep going. All right, and that section is really cool in that break section. You kind of hear the bass on the bottom go, like there's more emphasis. The sound he's playing is kind of either filtered or lower in volume where it's not really super loud and present. And then the rhythm's more of a halftime rhythm, and the percussion itself changes, so that's some nice variation. It sounds like a more acoustic, organic percussion being used. And just that movement of the bass line along with what he was playing in the lead section is really cool. And it just seems like a more minimal section within the song, which is kind of a nice kind of break within the song with how upbeat and happy it is. And then this section here, he's kind of leading into his kind of lead kind of solo section again. And then there was kind of a kind of kind of that kind of same kind of arpish sound leading into this section here that you kind of heard in the intro break section. So let's keep going. All right, so that was a really cool lead section. It's really cool. He's playing the lead, and then the pads have more high end, so it sounds really kind of euphoric and dreamy, which is really cool. And then there's different percussionary, not percussionary, but transitionary sounds that kind of come in. I guess they could almost be kind of percussionary. They remind me of like cinematic kind of high pitched, high end or high frequency drums, almost like with some white noise, and they kind of transition like that, making it pretty epic in that section, without any percussion really. And then piano kind of comes in and plays along with the melody as well, plays kind of the main plays the main kind of melody with the piano sound, and then it kind of arps going into the transition. The snare kind of comes in and transitions a little bit differently in this build up. It kind of goes up and down, and then you kind of hear his lead sound kind of going higher and higher in pitch, which is kind of a nice transition. And then you kind of have the white noise riser effect coming in. But I just like this section because it gives it a nice break, and it makes the section and this song seem a little bit more happy, kind of euphoric almost, like, in a sense, and kind of dreamy as well, with those pads and that lead playing without any real percussion. So let's get into the second drop and the outro, and I'll talk to you guys after that. Alright, so that was Teminite's song Break Free. We'll back it up a little bit into the second drop. So the second drop is structurally and kind of just like overall sound wise is pretty similar to the first drop. Some key kind of takeaways that were a little bit different were the more emphasized break sections with the wubs in the first part of the second drop. And that was pretty cool. He had that little arp in the transition area, the middle part of that first part of that second drop, and then the second part of the second drop was really cool. It's similar to the second part of the first drop, but he changed and varied the lead synth a little bit. But in terms of the style of introducing the lead sound, it was pretty similar to how he introduced it in the first drop in the second section when he did that section. And the chord progressions and the wubs and the structure of this drop was similar to the first drop, as I said. But this drop wasn't as long as the first drop, and then right after that he just outros the song kind of on the note of the kind of lead ending, and then kind of like a percussionary sound, and then just kind of a VFX to kind of outro, and then have the reverb and delay and stuff kind of outro out like that, and the chord progression pads. So overall, this is a really good live performance video. I'm kind of surprised it's not as popular as Unstoppable and Believe. I thought this video would be closer to 1 million views than it has been so far, but it has a chance to get there. It's only been a few years, so maybe pretty soon it'll be at 1 million views. But my takeaways from the song, it's really good. I really like his sound design. I like his use of the keys to transitions in this song, more so than some of his other two kind of live performance videos. I noticed it a little bit more in this video, at least like that transition using the keys, kind of like Haywire and Smooth Criminal. The upbeat nature is really nice. That second break section is really cool because it like slows down the song and then goes into that kind of euphoric section, which is really cool. And kind of the use of the calm response for electro and complextro is really cool to see in a live performance, because you know, most complextro and electro songs were made in a time period where live performances weren't even really a thing. So it's really cool to see kind of an electro song played live quite like this. So Teminite, much like Haywire, is really good at making leads, and just kind of how he built the feeling and the overall kind of structure of the song is really good, and just the overall kind of upbeat feeling from the song as opposed to the last kind of two songs is really cool. This song really plays into the style I really kind of was drawn to by Teminite, which was his kind of upbeat electro style. The first style I was introduced to him was kind of more glitch hop and dubstep, but when I heard his electro, that's really kind of what drew me to his music back then. When I first discovered him after his release of his remix for Hero on Monster Cat, his electro songs is really kind of what drew me to being a fan of his music. So I'm really glad he did a live performance video for this song. I really did enjoy, you know, all three performance videos. I really wish he did a live performance video for Hold On, because that song's really good. And I think it really would have fit for this live performance video kind of style. But, you know, 3 out of 4 is pretty good. He hasn't done a live performance video for any of his more current songs and his more current EP, the kind of pirate themed one that you guys saw me do an APA video for. He hasn't done a live performance video for that, for any of those songs yet. He did a live kind of DJ mix, but not so much a live performance mix. So I hope he does more live performance videos in the future. But in terms of this song, really good. I'm pretty glad to kind of cap off kind of the last live performance video for this EP. The last live performance video I have for Teminite is his one he did for State of Mind. So that is going to be a longer song, but that is a really good live performance video, and that's also his first live performance video. So be on the lookout for that video. But anyways, I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys comment, like, subscribe. Definitely all three of those help. And you know, that helps kind of grow the channel, and you know, the more comments on the videos, the more views the videos get, and that would definitely help out in terms of, you know, if you want people to hear my reviews and opinions about some of these songs. So anyways, I hope you guys have a good one, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to check out more Teminite's music, if not, just watch all the live performances by him. They're all really good, and I will see you guys in the next A Producer's Approach video. All right, everyone. Have a good one. Peace.